do this shit, man. Let's
Let's get
jump
into
into it.
it.
Without
Let's.
further ado, one spark ignites the Panthers' ambition. But I said in the intro that we have a cool little bit of news for listeners of the C3 Panthers podcast, where you can find our audio podcast and where we might surprisingly pop up around the web. Tony, what do we got to tell them, bro?
Recently, we switched our partner groups that we actually just happened this past week. We were formerly affiliated with what was Overtime Media that became AC Sports, but now we've joined a different conglomerate of a different network. And this network is the parent company that owns Fansided, which is the company that runs a lot of these these blogs or these websites like Cat Crave, and there's one on every sports team for every sport you could think of. And they've been around forever. I've written articles for Cat Crave 10, 12 years ago, and about Cam Newton. Oh, I think I had a great one about Cam Newton, and who was this dude? He used to always hate on Cam, and I wrote him a letter. He even laughed and tweeted about this letter I wrote him on Cat Crave. But Cat Crave is really a website that's been around for a long time that's been saved by Dean Jones, though. Dean, was kind of languishing there for a while, and he's really turned this into a powerhouse fan website or just media website. And now, since we have joined Fanside, we are the premier Panthers podcast that's featured on Cat Crave. So if you go there and you look at, if you're browsing whatever story on the 5 reasons the Panthers should have hope, or the 3 reasons that we shouldn't be too excited, or how the Carolina Panthers turned down 2 number 1 draft picks for Brian Burns, which is crazy to me. You can be looking at those articles and you're going to see our podcast embedded up there innately all the time. And to me, it's just nice to see the Panthers podcast out there in places that we didn't have to go and do it ourselves. You know what I mean? Hey,
Absolutely.
We're featured.
Yeah, and Dean Jones is a friend of the podcast. Like you said, they have tremendous work over there. And, look, this is a podcast for the fans, by the fans. Our viewership has been so incredible lately that they've essentially allowed us to be able to do things like this. So it's because of you guys why C3 Panther Nation is seriously coming up in the world. We love you. We appreciate you. If you want to continue to support, hit that like, hit that subscribe, hit that notification bell for every single time the C3 Panthers podcast goes live. Help us whoop up on the YouTube algorithm, just like Brian Burns did to Tom Brady.
Let's talk. Yeah. Witness the Walker Wonder. Witness the Walker Wonder. Witness the Walker Wonder. You say it 3 times, and my man appears on the screen. PJ Walker comes. Look, we're familiar with PJ. Is that this team is known about PJ Walker for several years, is what was known as, I guess, or thought to be a Matt Rule guy in some ways. PJ Walker has found a way. You got to give this dude a lot of credit, man, for finding a way to make a living in the NFL and in the XFL. He wants to play football, man. This is what he likes to do. And when he's not given a lot of opportunities, but when he's given the opportunities, a lot of times he's made a lot of some of these moments. You think he's 3-1 as a starter in the NFL. And this week he came out and led the Panthers to a victory over the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and had some of the most impressive throws you could see. And you really see why he kind of is a guy that hangs around in the NFL, because he can physically do things that a lot of guys can't. And he's throwing that pass in the back of the end zone to DJ Moore, the one on the sidelines that they actually overturned. These are bullets that are just physically difficult to throw. He can make all the throws. And he said this after the game. He said, I can make all the throws, but I had to learn I don't need to make all of them. Mm-hmm. And so PJ Walker's going out there, and he made good decisions. I think that the offensive line played well for him. The running game opened things up. and this balanced attack gave him an opportunity to play the game naturally, and he capitalized this and threw 3 touchdowns? Was it 3?
Yeah, 3
One to
touchdowns.
DJ, one to Trimble. What was
one
the
was
third?
a rushing touchdown.
One was
Hubbard.
a rushing touchdown.
Yeah.
Okay, one was
Yeah,
Hubbard.
one was
2
a rushing
touchdowns.
touchdown. But dude, he made some incredible throws, and I can pop some up here in a minute. But just to kind of show you how good we're talking about, right? Exactly how good of a performance PJ had. He was the highest graded quarterback in the NFL, better than Joe Burrow and better than Patrick Mahomes.
Mm-hmm.
And listen, part of the reason why I'm so optimistic, Tony, is because, you said that this isn't a different football team. But I disagree, man. And the reason why is because Steve Wilkes, as a head coach, has gotten the Carolina Panthers believing in what they are capable of. This is now a group of men who actually believe in themselves. More importantly, when you have a quarterback that's actually willing to push the ball downfield and get the ball to its playmakers like DJ Moore, and now you see the emergence of guys like Terrace Marshall Jr. and Tommy Tremble. Like, this is something that we never thought that we would be saying. But PJ Walker has literally provided us the spark at quarterback that we need. On top of that, our running game went berserk. Between Dante Foreman and Chuba Hubbard, we had 173 rushing yards. There is no reason why the Carolina Panthers can't pound the football behind our newly improved offensive line and continue to take shots downfield off play action, move PJ outside of the pocket, take some shots from midfield, which is where I feel PJ Walker is the best. And, dude, I'm telling you, man, all of a sudden, little old PJ Walker wonder has gotten people believing, man. I know some people still want to tank, but, dude, I'm done with the losing. I'm so done with the losing. If I go the rest of my life without seeing another Panther loss, it'll be too damn soon. We need good things to happen, not only for our team and for the fans, but for this podcast. So that way the post-game show doesn't have to be so damn depressing, man. Come on.
Fair points.
Yeah. Go ahead, CK.
I was going to say, with what's talking about PJ and the ratings, so I want to point out a couple of things. Number one, PJ graded higher this week. I don't know if he's the highest at the position in the entire season at that rating. I'm assuming Josh Allen probably has one of those. But when you think about Icky, his grade in week 5 against San Fran, he had the highest graded for his position. He was graded higher than any other position in that week for the entire season of any other lineman. All right. Now, pair that with Bradley Bozeman coming in here this week. He's got the highest rated grade of anybody at his position for the entire season for his week 7, performance. So on our offensive line, we've got 2 guys who have the highest grade, a single game grade of anybody at their positions at least one time, all for the entire season, not just like that week, the entire season. These guys are balling out. And I know it's PFF and you've got to take it with a grain of salt, but dude, I am telling you, it feels like this offensive line is different, and it's hard to not look at that and think that PJ Walker has a shot to come in here and show the world why he was the XFL MVP, why he was able to come in here with an actual pocket and be able to pass the ball so effectively. It's not a surprise. And that is where I think a lot of people are even still talking about, maybe we should let Sam Darnold have a shot if this doesn't work out with PJ, because he's never had an offensive line either. But I'll tell you what, PJ keeps playing like this, Sam Darnold and Baker Mayfield are never going to see the field as a starter in this league again.
Don't get us demonetized.
No, only share it for you. If you do it 15 seconds,
it's like this TikTok video I was like watching today, and all my TikTok just shows that I'm a hoe. Like my brain is but it was just like this. It was like somebody, and it was like a flash of them in like lingerie. It was
Instagram, dude. My Instagram is nothing.
And I don't even. I just said, well, first we're not gonna get off topic. Staying on topic here. I like this comment in the chat where I think it was why Big Jordan said, I always knew that PJ Walker was better than Patrick Mahomes.
I think it would be funny if he just came out and said, I always knew PJ Walker was better than Matt Corral.
Why
he
did
would
this
never?
Why is this a team that reached down, dug down into the depths of their souls, found some fight and some grit, and had a good game?
Yeah.
Or is this a team that was weighed down by the blanket of Matt Rule?
I think all can be true.
Oh,
they both are true, to be honest with you. Look, it's like I said, I want to temper the expectations with this because I've seen this movie before. But I mean, I could swear that 2 or 3 weeks ago, all of us were talking about how much trash PJ Walker was. I'm pretty sure.
Oh yeah, without question, I was.
No, look, PJ, I don't feel like I've ever dumped on PJ. It's just like, let's not look. Is that PJ is perfect for this type of role, actually, where you want him to win 3 or 4 games. It's not like
I need to see 3 or 4 games. I can believe it, and I'm not.
Oh, he can win 3 or 4 games in the NFL.
I believe he's capable of doing this.
Oh, he can do this for more than one game. I promise you that. The thing is that the whole thing with PJ Walker really on this podcast has just been that you're not gonna give him the reins next year. I mean, just legitimately not gonna see him as a solo. He's like a temporary worker.
Well, there is a path to him having that.
Yeah, I agree. I think before you say that, I think it's easy to say based on what we've seen before and just say that he can't do it. But I'm willing to give PJ Walker the rest of this season. When you're playing,
there's no problem with that.
When you're playing the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, granted they're not the team that they once were when they went to the Super Bowl, but they still have a ton of really good football players. And then PJ Walker comes out and puts out that kind of performance that is being mentioned with the likes of Joe Burrow and Patrick Mahomes. Like, okay, man, you have my attention. And by the way, we also can't pretend like we've never known that PJ Walker has that kind of talent. Because 2 years ago, he started against Detroit at home and did a very similar thing, man. He was throwing dots all around the field. He has a live arm. I'm a firm believer that PJ throws his worst interceptions in the red zone, but I don't think we need to throw them in the red zone. I say you take some shots from the middle of the football field, and if you're able to get down to the red zone, that's when that big bad offensive line and our run game comes in and we punch it in the rest of the way, man. I think that's beneficial to our receivers and certainly DJ Moore, but it's also beneficial to the kind of quarterback that PJ Walker is. He has a live arm and he wants to push the football downfield, and that's when he's playing his best.
So if PJ comes in next game and he puts up a Baker Mayfield performance and Sam Darnold's healthy, not what do you want the team to do? What do you think the team will do?
So Steve Wilkes gave a press conference, and he said right now, even if Baker Mayfield and Sam Darnold are healthy, PJ hasn't done anything to lose the starting job.
But if he puts up bad numbers next game, what I'm saying, like if he looks like he did the game prior to this one, next game.
But then we're gonna play ring around the bum once again. It's like it's a vicious cycle. But again, like we've been so down in the dumps the past few years, dude. Fuck it, man. I'm being optimistic. I feel like I have no reason to not be optimistic. I think like we have always had this inclination that the Panthers had a very good defense. We're starting to see more from Derek Brown. We're starting to see more from Brian Burns, who I think has gotten even better as the season has gone on, even though he's our primary pass rusher and everyone double teams him. I feel like this defense is poised to make us a competitor in the NFC South. It reminds me a lot of the 2014